Hi, everybody. I'm Bill Sanders, and this is Watch Art Sci, the art and science of watch collection. Today, what I'm going to talk about are three different functions, three watches, three types of watches. And I have them into two categories. One category are the ones that are affordable or more affordable, and the other ones that are just fabulous. And usually they're pretty expensive. But we'll take a look at them. Now, the first one I want to take a look at, they're usually referred to them as GMT, uh, but they're actually dual time zones, and sometimes you'll see DTZ to indicate that they have more than one time zone. And so I'm going to start off with two affordable ones I found. The first one is the Tissot C Star 1000. It's got a Powermatic 800 GMT steel. It's steel automatic, 46 millimeters, pretty big boy. $888.62. Found that on Amazon. Now, this is the list price, basically brand new, and I thought it was a pretty good price. They have a little red arrow that shows you what the second time zone is. Now, the second one, the other one I have is affordable, is the Seiko 5. I have a Seiko 5. It's just more fun. This one is the Seiko 5 Sport Field, and they call them GMT. It's got a red hand like the other one. They point to the GMT or the DTZ time. It's manual winding and automatic. That's sort of an interesting thing. Most companies, if they're automatic, you just assume you can also wind them up manually as well. Now this one's 39.5 millimeters, which is probably a lot better size for most people. It's got what's called loom bright hands, so you can see it in the dark. And that in the indices is only 290 bucks at a place called Green Toe. So I thought those are pretty good prices. Now, the the next ones I want to talk about I have as fabulous. They're both watches are pretty expensive. The Parmigiani, I'm sorry, the Parmigiani Foulier Tonda, the one on the left, is called a PF GMT Retropont. And the thing that is so cool about this watch, I don't know, it's just fun. It's a very clean watch. It's hard to find a cleaner dial than that. You have a little gold hand out there that's pointing at 9 o'clock on the picture there. And what that is, now that's the second time zone. But the big deal about this is that you can hide it. Uh, when the watch, when you only have one time zone, you hit a little punch. There's a little thing you push, and it goes behind the hour hand. So it's. I just thought that was a really cool one, nice and clean, very good for travel because you don't look like you're a big deal about anything. It's automatic, 3 hertz, 21,000 semi oscillation per hour. 48 hour reserve, and it's steel and platinum. It's a pretty nice watch. 40 millimeters. I like 40. 28,700 Swiss francs. That's probably going to be over $30,000 US dollars, but it's a nice watch. Another one that I've always liked, and again, both of these, they're dual time zones, but they're clean. I mean, they're very, you look at them and you don't have to say what's going on here. And that's the H. Moser Heritage Dual Time. I've always liked that watch. Caliber HMC 809. Again, it's 23,600 semi oscillation per hour, 3 hertz, 72 hour reserve. and this one is just under 20,000, 19,900 Swiss francs, which is about $22,000, something like that. Now, both of these watches they're more than just dual time. They're very clean watches, and the dual time is no doubt about it. Now, let me show you some other ones. Now, the ones I have two. Has two jumping hours. The top jumping hour up here is the local time, and the other jumping hour down here is my second time zone, which I set to Geneva. So I have mine at New York time, or Bloomfield time, my little town that I live in. And so right now, it's sort of an unusual one. Europe has already gone to standard time, while the U.S. is still on daylight savings time. And so this one shows 8 o'clock up here. It's in the evening here. It's about 8:40 here. And there it would be 1:40 a.m. in the morning. So that's one thing. If you look at it and you can say, yeah, everyone's in bed, I won't I won't call them right now. Now, one that's even better than that, this is another Parmigiani. This is called the Heritage. And what the Heritage has, not only does it have dual time zone, it has a dual, it's hard to see them, it's all like here. They have dual night-day. And so if, it may be daylight where you are, but really dark or late at night where the other person is. And so it's a very handy one. It's a little more crowded. I mean, it's not as, you sort of, once you get used to it, it's really nice because it has that added night-day thing. There was one of these, a Heritage, that had a retrograde date with it. I absolutely love that watch. It won a Grand Prix award several years ago, but they quit making it, and now they have the Parmigiani GMT Retro Poems. That's sort of cool. Okay, so those are which I consider to be the fabulous ones, but there's a lot of them out there. And the ones I'm showing are really pretty much financially, especially at the extremes. Ones are really affordable, and the other ones really aren't. Or at least they're way up there. Okay, now the next function I want to talk about is the moon phase. And the moon phase, I hate to say it, but while the moon phase is sort of a cool thing, there's not much to see. You look at your moon phase, and gee, it sort of looks like it did yesterday, But it's just sort of it's something that it's just sort of a nice thing, but it's not that big of a deal. And so finding an affordable one is really important, because sometimes people say, well, I want to have a moon phase for my collection, but once they get it, for it. The two that I found, one is called Arman Nicole MH2. I don't know where they get that name, blue dial. And again, this is a very clean dial. And then right underneath the center of the watch is this little moon phase. And the moon phase goes around. And when it shows all stars, that means it's a new moon. So you can't see it. And it's a nice one. $816 at Joma Shop was where I found it. Now, another one I found at Joma Shop was a Raymond Weil Maestro moon phase. And it has a Raymond Weil caliber 4280, but it's based on a Solita SW200. So it's more SW200, because I know Raymond Weil really doesn't do movements, so to speak. 4 hertz, 38-hour reserve, $549. Also, I found that at Joma Shop. It's nice because this particular one, 39 millimeters steel, it has a steel bracelet, which is nice. My moon phase, where's my moon phase? Here it is. My moon phase that I happen to have and really like is another Parmigiani Fleurier. And it's got these two moons up here. One is for the northern hemisphere and the other one's for the southern hemisphere. So I know what's going on in South America and Australia and those portions of the world that are south of the equator, Africa. A good hunk of it is anyway. So this is another moon phase. And they're the different kinds of moon phases. Like I said, they're something they're there. Some people really like them. They're sort of fun to have. Now, if you're really into astronomy, these guys, Christian Vanderklaw, he specializes in that. He's got one with all the planets even. This one is one I've always really liked. It's called the Real Moon Jour, and what it has a little at the bottom down there, it has a little three-dimensional moon. So I mean, that down at 6 o'clock, and then on the back they have this incredible rotor with the claws for Vanderklaw, Christian Vanderklaw. These guys, if you're really into astronomy and moon phases and even tides, if you're a fisherman, you might want to know about the tides, or a surfer. They have those too. The problem is they're fabulous, but they're expensive. This one is 45,450 euro in gold. So it's what a watch. So this is one that, just because a three-dimensional moon, I guess, is more fun than a two-dimensional moon. Even two-dimensional moons like I have. So that's another, I mean, just for fun to look at. Again, if you can afford that, it's really something. This one it says it only needs adjusting every 1,971,000 days, or every 5,400 years. So that's truly a lifetime watch for you. Okay, now this last thing, the last one I'm going to talk about are chronographs, and it may or may not be well known. I'm just not into chronographs. Not because I have anything against them. Chronographs are some of the most interesting movements of any watch. Carol Forestier Casapi, who is one of the recipients of the Watchmaker of the Year. I think it's in 2012, I believe. I think it was then. Maybe it was later than that. But I mean, she's like really top drawer. And somebody asked her what was more difficult to create, a tourbillon or a chronograph. And she said a chronograph by far. So let's take a look at the chronographs that I came up with. Now, the first two, these are both affordable. Now, more than one time I have been a friend of Chaumet Dandies. You know, it's got this god-awful name. Who wants to buy a watch for a dandy? But on the other hand, Chaumet is one of the top jewelers in the world. They're among the top 5 in France. They're at the Place Vendôme with the other top watchmakers. So one of the things, they may not be into horology, but boy, do they know the jewelry of the watch. This includes the band, the case, the hands, the design, everything are fantastic. Now, for us collectors, the good thing is most guys, first of all, they hear the name and they turn around. But these are really great watches, but the movements aren't fantastic. Now, this one has an ETA 2894-2, which is an ETA chronograph. It's an automatic 4 hertz, like most of them, 42-hour reserve. Now, this one, they don't make them anymore. They stopped making all men's watches a few years ago. Chaumet did. So they're all pre-owned. This one I found for $1,800 on, I think it was eBay. This watch, I tell you, the people who have them just they look like easily the same quality of cases you get in Patek Philippe or Vacheron Constantin or any of the other ones that are your top watches, and they look it and they feel it. And the old ETA pumping away does a pretty good job. Now they're bicompacts. This particular one is with the two little subdials there for the minutes and the seconds for the chronograph. I mean, beautiful watch, very affordable. Now another one. Now this is a German watch, an outfit called Hanhart. And one of the things I like about this particular model is that it's not automatic, but it's manual wind. This one, brand new, was 24, 26, about halfway through 2000s. Again, it's by packs too. It has a Sellita SW510 M in it. And that's not the 500 series that Sellita puts out is pretty decent. And for the price, this is nice. Now, if you don't like wind up, your hand wound, and well, that one wouldn't be for you. But they're my favorite. Just there's no rotor. You can look at the movement and okay. Now, this next one, now here for Fabulous Chronograph. This is the funny thing. One of the best movements in the world for anything outside of some single watchmaker spent 50 years working on a single movement. This movement came out, I don't know, maybe even 10 years by now. It was called the Chronograph. This is something by Jean-Marc Viderec, and the company that he founded, Agenor, and this was called Chronograph movement. And it's a fabulous movement. It's very different than others in this way, is that a lot of the movement is sort of around like a donut shape, and what you have is that you have a very clean chronograph dial on it. Instead of having all these little subdials, there's a single center dial, and the hands that are required for chronograph work are controlled with the pushers like you have on a regular chronograph, except they don't. All of the chronograph work is done within the context of the main dial. Now, there are 4 different companies that have them. I think most of them already won a Grand Prix award simply because of the AGH 6361 movement by Agenor. And it's way beyond the in quality and engineering and everything else than any other chronograph that I've heard of anyway. The ones that are shown there, the blue one in the upper left is H. Moser's chronograph, Streamliner chronograph. Right below it is a Fabergé Visionaire chronograph. To the right, I think it's the first one. This is the Singer Reimagined. Is the company? I know Singer Reimagined. People say, "Wait a minute, isn't that a car company?" Yes, it is. But they also have a line of watches that are just fantastic. So, go figure. I think Singer, they get their mitts on these old Porsches or something and fix them up, and you got a really cool Porsche. Finally, this newer one is by Ming. That came out recently. Now these are expensive, 39,000 something, 37, 47, 37,000. All of these are very expensive. and those are in Swiss francs. I got all of the prices of those from the Grand Prix website that has all of that information. Um, so those are the ones that are really fabulous, but that's not one movement, and a lot of them now. So I figured, well, I better add one more. Now this is one that normally you would say, wait a minute, these guys should be with the more affordable Maurice Lacroix. And that's true. Most of the movements they have are ETA or Solita movements. I think they have some of their own, but the chronograph they have, this one chronograph is called the Maurice Lacroix Le Chronograph. And the thing of it is that the person who built it is one of the top watchmakers in the world, Andreas Streller. So they got this incredible chronograph, and they said, we need a chronograph, but we want it to look as much like a Venus 175 caliber as possible. So I'm not sure why, but it was a very famous chronograph caliber. This one is hand wound, and just a very cool one. Now there are a couple pictures I found of. I think it's new. I'm pretty sure it was new for $22,500. That's a lot of money. But the good thing about it is you can find some on the used market. One I found on eBay was $7,800. Now I know that's not dirt cheap, but for a watch by one of the top watchmakers in the world, that's pretty good. The one we just looked at, the Chronograph, there are no deals on that I can find. All of those are fairly expensive. But boy, I tell you, this one, the Maurice Lacroix Le Chronograph is one way to get your mitts on a chronograph by a top watchmaker for, I'll say, sort of more like a mid-price. But that's something available. Anyway, those things I thought would be fun to talk about and things to think about. And here you have three major kinds of functions: the dual time zone, the moon phase, and the chronograph. And I just looked at three sort of batches of them, but there are tons of them in between. In between the fabulous and the affordable, there's a whole bunch more in between on all three of those. Anyway, as usual, I'd very much like to hear what you have to say about this, especially if you have any of these watches. I'd like to hear from you about them. And this is an opportunity to subscribe if you like. And until next time, this is Bill Sanders for Watch Art Sci, the art and science of watch collection.